All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at Canada cinema.
Okay.
Um, and specifically, we're diving deep into this really interesting YouTube video that I found.
Okay.
Um, and it's interesting because it's about these classic Canada films, but it's all in Malayalam.
Oh, wow.
So it's like this really fascinating look at how these, film buffs are kind of bridging these two different film industries together.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see this sort of cross-cultural pollination happening with film, especially in India, where you have such a diverse range of film industries.
Right. And it seemed like there's a real hunger for this type of content too.
Mhm.
People wanting to explore cinema beyond their own language barriers.
Absolutely. And I think it speaks to the universality of storytelling at its core, no matter what language it's being told. In a good story is a good story.
Yeah. Exactly. So for those of us who might not be as familiar with Canada's cinema, could you give us a little bit of a background on what makes it so unique?
Sure. So Canada cinema has a really rich history going back almost a century. It's known for its realism and its focus on social issues. It often tackles very complex themes, and it's deeply rooted in the literary traditions of the region.
When you were saying that, I was thinking about Satyajit Ray and how he was known for his poetic realism in filmmaking.
Absolutely. And while there are definitely parallels you can draw between Canada cinema and the works of filmmakers like Ray, Canada cinema has its own unique flavor and sensibility. It's shaped by its own cultural context, and the stories it tells are deeply rooted in the realities of the region.
So it seems like this YouTube creator is trying to bridge that gap,
Hmm.
introduce a wider audience to this incredibly rich and diverse film industry.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is that they're doing it through the lens of another language and culture. So you're getting this fascinating layered perspective on these films.
It's like it adds a whole other dimension to the viewing experience, right? Because you're not just watching the film itself,
Hmm.
you're also seeing it through the eyes of someone from a different cultural background.
Precisely. And I think that kind of cross-cultural dialogue is so important, especially in today's world where it's easy to get siloed into our own little bubbles.
It reminds me of when I first started watching films with subtitles. It was like this whole new world of cinema opened up to me, and I realized how much I was missing out on.
And I think that's the beauty of this kind of content. It encourages us to step outside of our comfort zones and explore new perspectives. And who knows, we might just discover our next favorite film or filmmaker in the process.
Absolutely. It's all about expanding our horizons and embracing the incredible diversity of global cinema.
Couldn't agree more.
So if you're looking for something new and exciting to watch, I highly recommend checking out some Canada films. You might be surprised at what you discover.
And you might just find yourself wanting to learn more about this fascinating corner of Indian culture.
Exactly. So go out there and explore, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds great.